Count it up, and we're live.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Finally back to Monday Night Monster Jam, episode 10. Awesome. Sorry for last week. We had to skip and cancel the show. We just had too many other issues going on and contradictions and things with the show and schedules and all kinds of stuff. But we're back tonight. I know it's a holiday, so hopefully you guys are bored out of your minds or you're full after eating all that food or whatever you've been doing all day, playing with your kids, and you're ready to watch some Monster Jam stuff happen here. So, thanks for joining us. A quick note, we do not have Ryan with us anymore. Ryan won't be with the show. Unfortunately, Ryan has some other conflicting schedules with work and things. So we want to thank Ryan for all his help, helping us launch the show for the 9 episodes and moderating the show. And we appreciate everything that Ryan has done for us up until that point.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your help, Ryan. It's a tremendous loss, obviously, but we're moving on. Sam and I got it covered for tonight, and we will be, and this is a shout out for anyone interested, we are looking for a new moderator to help out with the show. So if you're interested, please contact me through my Facebook, my Instagram, or email, and let's talk. So,
What's up? Woo-hoo.
yeah. But anyway, we've got a great show for you tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Tonight we're back to sculpting. We did all that painting the last few shows, so now we're back to some sculpting. Yes, I'm excited. And I thought it'd be interesting to do a very small, quick demo on sculpting human ears and then transforming that into some sort of monster ear, maybe a vampire ear or something like that. So, again, I will be working in wet clay, which is a water-based clay, and it's a common clay used for mask making. And so what I have is a bust with just a blocked out section as if there was thickness there, if it was your mask, or you'd have about a half inch to an inch thickness. I've blocked some clay in, excuse me, and I'm going to conduct a sculpting demo on ears for you. Other announcements, let's see. I have a class coming up very soon. It's next month, June 25th. I'd like to talk about and give you guys some information. It's half sold out. There's still 5 seats remain, I believe. And so if you're interested in taking an in-person class with me, which this is my most popular class, is the in-person class where I teach demonstration on painting techniques, how to paint monster busts or monsters and creatures, and basically showing you my techniques and how to help you develop your techniques and take your painting further. So this class is focused on something, which everyone knows. It's werewolves versus vampires. So what it is it's a small werewolf bust and a small vampire bust, which I will try to grab and show you. And basically each student gets a copy of each bust, 20 color paint set, 10 colors for werewolf, 10 colors for vampire, which can be intermixed. You get to keep the paint set. It's a brand new set, take it home. And we run through the gamut of airbrush techniques, sponge techniques, brush techniques, glazing, washes, dry brush, spatter, you name it, everything. Painting eyes, painting teeth. So it's a fun class. It's happening on June 25th. If you'd like to sign up, please go to my website, caseylovemonsters.com. Go to in-person classes, scroll down, and you can click the button to sign up. If you have any questions on the class, please hit me up. I'm always available to answer questions.
What's the date again?
June 25th. So there's that. The other announcement we've been making as we get closer and closer to, we've announced this every show, as we get closer and closer to that wonderful 1,000 mark subscriber mark. We're doing our giveaway we've talked about before with the 4 busts here, two witches, a melted witch, a boiled witch, a demon, well, two demons, kind of a wolf demon, and then a kind of a, I don't know, demonic demon. So these 4 busts, I'm doing castings of these and painting them to completion, and then we're going to offer a giveaway of to 10 lucky winners. Each will receive a set of free busts on us. So that'll be happening when we hit that lucky 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you know anyone that wants to check out the show, would like this content, please let them know about the show. It helps us out, helps everybody out. We can grow the show and get where we want to be. So there's that. That's coming up. And that's just a thank you to you guys for helping us out. There'll be more giveaways to come as well. And am I missing anything, man?
No,
I think we've covered most of it.
6 to 8.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every Monday night, we will be here unless something drastic happens where we can't, which is what happened last Monday. But every Monday night, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Western, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock Eastern time, we will be live coming at you, and with some monster fun and goodness. So let's get.
Make sure to subscribe if you're just joining us.
Yes, yeah. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. That is the best thing for us. Helps us out a lot. And what we're going to do now is crack right into this sculpture and get going with this demonstration. So this is mainly for you guys that struggle with ears or have any issues with ears. A lot of people I know don't like sculpting ears. It can be a little frustrating. And this demonstration really applies to masks, but you could apply this to anything, smaller scale sculptures, whatever. So I'm going to put on my eyes, and then we're going to get cracking right into sculpting a human ear, and then we're going to take that and launch into a monster ear here. So, and how we're good, yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that, obviously, if this was a fleshed out mask, it'd be about that thickness if I was sculpting a mask. So I'm just going to draw a C shape here. Start with the letter C. That's not for my name, Casey. That's just to give me an idea. Now, I typically don't do this when I sculpt an ear on a mask. I'm just showing you guys a quick little thing you can do to kind of help give you a guide, if you will. It's almost like an E, really. But, all right. So, to start with, usually what I do is lay in and follow. And usually I just roughly, instead of drawing that C, I just roughly look at it and go, oh, put the ear in. I don't really bother too much with drawing in the C. Once you start, get used to sculpting ears all the time, you'll be fine. You won't need to do that. Obviously, if your ear is for a creature of some sort, you're going to be sculpting. You're probably not going to be sculpting a human ear first. You'll probably just dive right into whatever ear fits your creature design. But we're going to pretend that we're sculpting a human ear right now, and then we'll get into how to transform that. And you can get pretty blocky at first if you want, and just really block in just a C shape like this. You don't have to get really technical about trying to sculpt every little detail right off the bat, or every sort of nook and cranny, because the ears have a lot of interesting little shapes and forms that happen. So it's a cartilage. The ear's cartilage, so you have to remember that. You don't want something on your mask or on your sculpture, if it's something you're sculpting smaller, it'll just look like a big chunky donut, something like that. You want it to look and resemble human ear. So you can see I just start with a simple shape for now. It's going to look a little weird because there's this big block of clay just on a head, but you'll have to imagine that there is a sculpted design. Now, one thing too is it's always good to also look at your ear from different angles. If you have trouble lining ears up from left to right, so from one side to the other, you can, on your sculpture, you can mark where the bottom, where the top, and then even where the sides are, and just transfer those lines to the other side lightly, just scribe through your sculpture, and then that'll line you up. So you don't have to guess, and then you have one ear here and one ear way down here or way up here, so you can line them up pretty well. One thing with sculpting ears on masks is you can run into issues where you're worried about undercuts or severe areas where the latex may not flow into very well, or could catch air bubbles, or could be just hard to get out of the mold or whatever. So you're also trying to be a little conscious of those things, but I always push the ear as far as I possibly can and try to give it as much realism as possible, just so that you're not, sacrificing too much of the anatomy for the molding. Because I've found you can, as long as you've got a pretty good thickness of going on and everything, you'd be surprised what you can pull out of a mold. So what I do is I just keep building out. Building out here. Mostly my fingers, right now. Don't need to use too many tools. Sometimes I'll just come in and just take clay away or something like this. I'll use a real simple tool in the beginning, if anything. Now, what I've kind of done at this point is, so the ear comes up around, and what happens is right here at the front, where the ear kind of meets back to the head, it then dives in back to the inside of the ear. So then it's going to go this way. And then here you're going to start digging out. A little bit of a trench. Now there's always to this, and it's different on everybody's ears. Everybody's ears are different. They're unique to the individual. So these things are just rough guides. That's not like absolutely you have to follow exactly. You can tweak all these things to suit your style or your needs or how you want the ear to look. That's all up to you. So if you study a lot of different human ears, you'll see what I'm talking about. They're different from person to person, and I mean the general guide form, the general human form is always there, but there are things that are more subtle on certain people and more pronounced on others. So within these general forms. So like for instance, this Y that happens here. They always refer to as kind of a Y because it's like the letter Y here, and then it kind of comes around. There's a divot in here that can be softer or more aggressive depending on the person. If you study ears on people, you'll see what I'm talking about. And back here, there's a lot of parts to the ear that kind of dip in like this. So I usually, just dive in like this and pull clay away, dig clay away. It's nice to use a round loop tool like this one. Can be very helpful to dig out the forms. It works really nice for ears. And, just the back of a wood tool here is also really good. So I just find there's like a little bit of a bump here. And it kind of dies out underneath this sort of roof top part of the ear here that comes back around and then dives inward back to the inside. And then right here, we'll dig out a little bit of a U shape. There's always a little bit of a little ball thing here. Sorry, I don't know the technical terms of all these things. I never bothered to learn what they're called. So if you know, you're probably laughing at me like, oh, well, that's this and that's that. I just know what it looks like. I don't really care what it's called. That might sound bad. You should probably learn, what these things are called. I at one point in my career, I do think I learned what they are, but that was many, many years ago. I have no clue anymore what these things are called. These little parts of the ear. There's names for them all, but heck if I know. So
No idea.
the dippy, the ridge, and the divot. I like that. So this is the dippy, no, the ridge, the divot. Yeah. No, I don't. For me, just sculpting the human ear is all I need to be able to do. I definitely don't need to be a doctor or scientist and know what everything's called. So, but that's but that's not bad to know those things. I'm a little better when it comes to muscles. I know memorize those names a little bit better. But I think what's important here is not the names of everything, but just how it looks and making sure that it looks correct. One thing one of the biggest pet peeves I have with masks or seeing, some mask makers is when they do ears and they don't look anything like a human ear. That drives me crazy because it's, you can tell they haven't really bothered to learn how to properly sculpt that anatomical feature or a nose or whatever it is, whatever. So it hurts their design and hurts their artwork because it's pretty clear they don't know how to sculpt those things correctly, or correctly enough to be convincing. So you want to make sure you're not one of those guys. And if you are, it's okay. You just can learn and correct those mistakes, and it just takes a little practice. Ears is one of those things I find a lot of people that hate to sculpt, but the funny thing for me is, and I hated it too when I first started, But the funny thing is once I learned how to sculpt ears pretty well, you know, and I'm not the best ear sculptor out there. This guy's way better than me for sure, you know. But you know, once I got it down to where I liked it and was happy and it looked convincing enough, then it was like fun to do ears. I actually enjoy it a lot now. So I would say, you know, uh, if you have a weakness, um, let focus on that weakness and get better at it and strengthen it, because you will not only increase your artwork, but your work will come off a lot more convincing and realistic to everyone else. And if you're looking to get into special effects, you definitely better know how to sculpt the ears and noses and lips and eyes and everything. So it's a you definitely don't want to try to fudge it in that business.
That's good for prosthetic work, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Actually, exactly why I was saying that, because you know you may be asked on a special effects job to copy somebody's nose, you know, like a famous actor or something. You might you know match this nose, match everything about it, you know. Or if you have to correct a life cast, you need to know anatomy. You know, if you have to correct things or work off of a life cast in out of or you know out of clay, you know, clay pour of a life cast, and you're going to do transform an actor into something, but you still need to retain the look of the actor. I actually had to do this on the movie The Thing when I sculpted the Griggs head, which was the helicopter monster. I had to retain the actor's likeness, but then also turn him into this monster. So, you know, you need to know how to sculpt things correctly. So, anyway, you know, those are just hopefully some helpful tips for you guys. And so you can see here already how quickly we've gotten what looks like an ear. Pretty quick. But, you know, there's a lot, and I could sit and tweak on this thing forever, obviously, but we also are going to take this after we get it pretty good, far along. We're going to take it and transform it into a monster. So let's not forget about the ear canal, which would be somewhere down here. And I'm pretty much doing it all with one tool at this point. So you can see you don't need a bunch of tools to do an ear correctly. That's nice. Find a tool that, you know, kind of does everything for you and works nicely. Usually these loop tools I find are the best. And there's some more we can do here, actually. So I always like to kind of accentuate this little U shape here just a little bit. You can also see what's nice about the wet clay. It's very forgiving, and you can block things out very quickly. And the other cool thing about sculpting nice looking ears is when you are working in an effects shop and your boss comes over and says something to you, then you can be a prankster and be like, huh? What? I didn't hear you. What? It sounded like when I did that, it sounded a lot like Pee-wee Herman. I think anytime I do that, my Pee-wee Herman comes out. The Pee-wee Herman voice. What?
Kind of off topic, talking about Pee Wee Herman. Somebody I saw was tossing out the original couch or something, or like a remake of it.
What was that couch called again? I forget.
I don't know. I just know it talked. Like it had a set of
Talking
teeth.
couch. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Pee Wee Herman, man. See, you never know what the heck we're going to talk about on this show. Who knows? So yeah, I mean, this is basically right here. I mean, is pretty good already to, and you know, like I said, you can noodle with this thing as much as you would like on your own. When you do ears, you can sit there and noodle on these things forever to get them absolutely perfect and realistic. But most masks, you know, monsters are human type characters that need ears. I mean, if you take it even this far and then clean it up and detail it, you'll be pretty good. But you can always tweak it. And the good thing is, you know, when you get into things like, let's say you're doing a witch mask or something, you know, you can lengthen the lobe and do things to make it old age and creepier and to fit the character a little bit better. So there's that as well. Cherry, that's right. Oh my gosh. Wow. Thanks. You got it. Somebody's bound to remember the name. Now I'm just going to use this little side of this tool that has these teeth sort of rake this ear. Which kind of what it does is it helps make the forms a little nicer, even though it might not look like it, you know, because it's making little teeth marks. It does actually kind of clean it up. And there you have her. That's pretty much your standard human ear. I don't know how long did that take.
25 minutes.
All right, so there you go. 25-minute human ear sculpting demo. Good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. No, we got more to do. What are we talking about? Not good night. All right, so now that we've got a fairly decent ear established, and that's the process, and now you guys, you know, for you guys that need to work on your ears a little bit more, or your, you know, if this is a helpful video for you, you can go back and you'll be able to rewatch this and slow it down and pause it and check out how I'm putting the shapes in, and so it's very helpful. But to, you know, to take this demo a little further, which is what I want to do, is let's then transform this into like fitting some kind of monster or something. Like, let's say we're gonna do, I don't know, vampire or some other, you know, beast, creature, demon, I don't know, something like that.
UFC fighter with cauliflower.
Oh yeah, well that so cauliflower ear is easy. You just start filling everything in weird bumps. Actually, let's try that. That'd be fun. Let's just mess around with this for a minute. Let's see if we can take this and turn it into Tony Ferguson. Chuck Liddell. No, I don't know. So yeah, cauliflower ear. I've done a few. I don't remember offhand exactly, but they, you know, what it is scar tissue that's built up on the ear that from all this rubbing that happens, and it, you know, starts looking kind of gnarly. They get pretty filled in too. They get really pretty whacked out. So, but you would, you know, if you wanted a cauliflower type ear, you could fill in areas like this and, you know, sculpt all these soft lumps and bumps of scar tissue that have developed. I did cauliflower ears on one of my masks. I don't have it hanging here, but I forget. Oh, it was a genie mask I did called the Gin. That was the one I did the cauliflower ears. I think I looked at Randy Couture's ears for reference. Yeah, they are. They're a mess.
A lot of Japanese and Thai kickboxers with really messed up ears too.
Yeah.
I was saying there's a lot of Japanese and Thai kickboxers who have really messed up cauliflower ears.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, cauliflower ear, you could just start, filling in basically all that, because you're not going to see all the form of the ear anymore. It's just like basically filled in like this kind of thing, and looks like a head of a cauliflower. Probably why they call it that. It's gnarly looking. But anyway, that's kind of how you could start doing something like that. But that's not what we want to do. We want to do like a vampire ear or some crazy thing. So, all right. So we had our human ear. Now we're gonna push this around and let's jack it up. Let's change it up. So now let's take it into something cooler than just human ear. But what we're going to do is use what we now know, from sculpting the human ear. We're going to use the same principles of what makes a human ear look like a human ear, and then use that for our monster ear. Because, you, even though it's a monster, you don't want to abandon, unless it doesn't have ears, or it doesn't have any kind of, has a different function for hearing. Like maybe it's got I don't know, some other way of hearing or whatever. Then maybe that's a different thing. But let's say you're doing something that's humanoid or based on human anatomy to some effect, then you want to put in correct form and try to make it look realistic by using human anatomy to help you get there. So I'm just going to start by, just like I did before, blocking things out. Let's see here, we can start establishing what the basic design of this will be. Also, guys, I will be, I know I've mentioned this before, I will be attending Monster Palooza. A lot of people, I keep telling them I'll be attending, and then they keep asking, oh, come look at all your stuff at your table. I'm not going to have a table. Unfortunately, I won't have a table this year. I'm not doing the show. I'm not vending at the show. I will be showcasing a few pieces in the gallery, though, if you want to check those out. but I'll be at the show just Friday night. So if you're around Friday night, I think the show opens at like what 5 to, and I think it goes to like 11 at night if I remember. So anyway, I'll be there for the for that evening. I can't make it on Saturday and Sunday, so if I miss you, I apologize. But if you are there on Friday night, I'll be in attendance, walking around. Um, if you say come, if you see me or whatever, come say hi. If you're part of the show, I'd love to. If I have met you or haven't met you or whatever, it'd be awesome to at least say hi, and I can thank you in person for helping us with the show and being a part of Monday Night Monster Jam. Are you going, Sam?
Yeah.
Are you going Friday night?
I'm thinking I'm gonna try and go.
Okay.
At least Friday night.
Okay, so Sam and I will probably both be there then. Sounds like it. So yeah, if you're in attendance at Monster Palooza next Friday night, man, it's here already. Just a few more days. So I'll be there. Be awesome to see everybody again. Should have 3 to 4 pieces on display in the gallery, I think, total, something like that. So you could check those out. There'll be some amazing artwork there from many other artists as well. So yeah, I'm just kind of doing a, I don't know, vampire ear or something like that, or werewolf ear, something here. Let me start carving some more form in here so that it resembles a bit more of an ear. And when I was saying earlier, you can exaggerate things, you can tweak things. Like, for instance, this Y, now that we have this Y, it's going to be kind of stretched out. We can make that anatomy work for this ear shape, and I can do things like push that down this way. One of the beauties of wet clay is you can just totally change everything very quickly if you have to. So this clay is so much fun to work with once you get the hang of it. For mask making, it's my favorite clay to use, especially for masks. I don't sculpt in Chavant or other clays. Those take forever. They're hard as hell to clean out of a mold. So forget all that. I'll share a secret with you guys too. When it comes to sealing this clay for mask making, for molding, for mold making, a lot of people go to traditional sealers like Crystal Clear, and stuff like that. I stopped using Crystal Clear many years ago. Is causing a lot of issues. Something called traveling, where the crystal clear layer would get stuck to the mold. Now I use ultra cal molds, but anyway, it would get stuck and cause a big headache to try and clean the mold. So I can tell you, don't put crystal clear for your sealer. Number one, that stuff takes forever to dry if you put it on real thick, and it can just be a big pain in the butt to clean. So if you want a tip on that, my suggestion is to use matte, Krylon matte spray, which might not sound, same company, Krylon Crystal Clear and Krylon Matte, but they are very different, very, very different. And the reason I use Krylon Matte is I actually accidentally stumbled upon this, and I had been trying many, many different ways of sealing masks to find the best possible way to avoid the crystal clear traveling to the surface and all these things. I used to seal my masks with what's that called? I'm drawing a blank now. What was that stuff? Baldies, like Baldies latex cap, making bald caps. I would seal off the crystal clear with that and stuff. But that was crappy because you had to airbrush it on, and it's got acetone is thinner, which is really terrible for you to breathe. So I one day I was running a mask making class at my studio, and I thought I had crystal clear on hand, but I didn't. I forgot to check. Anyway, I didn't have crystal clear. I had like a half of a can left, and I had, we had to seal like 10 masks, sculptures. There was no way a half a can was going to work, but I had a bunch of matte, and I just was like, oh well, I hope this works. I've never done it before. So I used matte spray, and to my surprise, it was the most amazing sealer I've ever tried for mask making. I mean, the clay just came right out of the mold, no problem at all. And I had barely to do any cleanup in the mold after I hosed it out, to get all the clay residue. But it just all came out so easily. It was shocking. Really, I was not expecting that. I was expecting a giant headache, like that, it wouldn't work well or something. But anyway, long story short, I discovered that Krylon matte spray is the best sealer I've ever used for masks, and I've used it ever since and never had a problem. So there's a little tip for you for sealers. Give it a try, see if you like it. It's way less heavy of a sealer than crystal clear is as well. It dries faster. You can get going much faster on your mold. There's a lot of pluses to it. I also use dulling spray on top of that when I'm doing a mask. I do put a light layer of dulling spray. But I used to do that with crystal clear too, and just, yeah, there's a huge difference in how the clay cleans out of the mold. So now I've got the ear pretty well shaped in here. This more monster ear here. And again, just using what I know of my understanding of anatomy, I can continue to push the shapes and, make this ear come to life. And you can accentuate, these shapes more if you want to. You can push things a little bit further. Push this in a little. If we wanted the lobe, maybe we want a longer lobe or something here. Or just, maybe just different looking. We can add that in. A few wrinkles or something in there. You can also put, we can also put some wrinkles in front here. Sometimes there's a fat fold wrinkle above the ear here. This one, this little fat fold wrinkle is something I've definitely taken inspiration from Rick Baker. He would do it on a lot of his stuff, and I know a bunch of guys take this one, this inspiration, this like fold running next to the ear, coming from the top of the ear and then down to the side of the head here. First saw it on his troll sculpture, the mighty troll, famous troll. Famous troll. All right. But yeah, you can see how quickly you can establish nice looking ears. You know, and if we wanted this to be more animalistic, we could add in sort of, let's see here. Grab different tool. We could add in, you know, what, like some sonar type stuff here, like a bat has. If this is, you know, say this is a bat ear or something like that, you could add in these layers. You know, some of the bats have these little layers of flesh in their ears that kind of overlap one another. So if we wanted to do something more fancy, do that. You know, give it some kind of design aesthetic or something like that. Now, you know, if you wanted to go, another thing you can do is push further away from human anatomy altogether as well. That's another thing you can do, is start studying animals and say to yourself, okay, well, I see this and I see that in an animal, but I don't see that in human. So you can start adding more features that are more animal-like, you know, somewhere in between the two worlds, which you know, people will associate with your design. You know, oh yeah, I've seen that on a bat or whatever. So you can do stuff like that too. Add in other things. So what we'll do is, for now, I'll leave this ear like this. Also, look, you can easily, by the way, you can, like, if you want, I want to tweak this up more. Okay, you can do that. You can lift it a little bit, you know, or if you want to go this way, you can go that way, whatever you want to do. So this clay responds very nicely to different pushing and pulling and those types of things. So I'll leave this here for the moment, and then we're gonna break away for our 7 o'clock Q&A and artist share. We're gonna have artist share tonight and a Q&A. So we'll break away from that, and then what we'll do is the end of the show, we'll come back and we'll add more animalistic stuff to this ear and show you how to take it a little bit away from human. All right, and then, you know, to keep your wet clay nice, and just give it a little squirt like this. You know, that's all you need to do. Don't squirt your wet clay down. Soak it. It's not good to just soak it. You know, when I'm roughing out a mask, I rarely ever spray it down at all the first day or so. So, not necessary. Okay, and let me just clean off my hands because I got wet clay all over. That's the one problem with wet clay. All right. Actually, why don't we should we do it artist share and then let's do this. The link to the cabinet. Cabinet of Curiosities. Let's find I know who will do tonight. Oh boy. This is a favorite of mine. Let's go. Let's grab an old one and a new one. So we can see some cool stuff here. Alright. So the artist share tonight will be Aris Collectibles. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with Aris's work. If you're not, well, you better do yourself a favor and become familiar with his work because it's quite exceptional. So, what I've got here from Aris, and I've got two pieces. I'm going to clean my wet clay dust off. Apologize for the wet clay dust. Let's do this. Let's move it this way and this way. So I've got two pieces here. I've got several from Aris. Actually, I've got a few from Aris. This is actually a little latex bust, and this is resin. I think when Aris, if I'm, and I might be wrong about this, but so Aris, don't be mad at me. But I think when Aris first started, he was using latex for mini busts like this, probably because it was cheaper than getting this material. I imagine Aris is from another country. And where is he from? I'm forgetting where Aris lives. Is it Greece or somewhere like that? Anyway, yeah. I know that, a lot of his early work, this is a very early piece here from Aris. When I first started seeing and becoming aware of Aris's work, this was one of the pieces that struck me and I thought was really nicely done. And I'm showing them because you can see his growth from where he started. This is not exactly where he started, but from an early point in his career to more recent. This is a more recent. I mean, this is still a number of years old, but the two are separated by many years of time and dedication and work. From what I've seen, Aris is a very dedicated artist. Amazing work. He's actually featured in the new book that the Shiflett brothers have put out, and he does a sculpture demo in there that's fantastic. It's a giant creature, has amazing posing, amazing flow, amazing anatomy, amazing design sense. One of my favorite things about Aris's work is the design sense is strong, very strong. Not to mention everything else. Spelling? I don't know. Oh, Aris. And then Colaccontes is like KOL. Here, I can find him. Let me look him up. So as I was saying, Aris is an amazing artist. I had seen come on the scene a number of years ago. I forget exactly. Here you go. I forget exactly. You can take that. When I remember seeing or becoming familiar with Aris. It's just one day there he was, and then he was showing his work, and I watched him kind of grow and come along very quickly. He grew very quickly. He was sculpting nonstop all the time. Very dedicated artist. He's worked for as far as movies. I don't know all his movie credits, so I apologize, but I do know he worked for Weta at one point on the Hobbit films, and I don't know which ones, but I know he was there. Might have been the first one, but anyway, he's a tremendous artist, and I bring these two pieces out to show you guys because, like I said, this one in latex here is an earlier version, and then this is something from him later down the road. Let's turn these around. You can see the amazing anatomy and things going on with this. I absolutely love this design. This is so neat. I mean, the skin texture is absolutely amazing. The forms are incredible. There's nothing missing, you know, in Aris's work. The skin pulls, the flesh pulls, the design sense, the expression, the character, the anatomy, everything is strong. And that is what I strive for, let alone I know others strive for. Aris seems to strive for it every single time and get it, and he does an amazing job. So he's a tremendous sculptor, and I can't speak highly enough about his work. So these are two pieces. Now I don't know everything about Aris. I wish I knew more about him. I've collected a few pieces from him. That I've purchased, but I haven't really spent much time discussing anything with Aris. You know, since we both live in different countries, it's hard to communicate um, and get to know people 100%. But anyway, what I know of him and what I've seen as far as his growth and as an artist and where he's at these days, it's been incredible to watch him come along. That's for sure. Uh, you know, he would put something new out, and then I would every time I'd just be like, "Wow, holy moly!" And then the next time, "Wow, oh my god, oh wow, oh my god, another amazing piece." And it's been one after another. You know, it's like a guy just hitting home runs out of the park every time. Yeah, I love his work, man. This piece is just so creepy and weird, and I think such a strong design all around. There's so many things in here that you can you can almost see where he might get some of the ideas from nature, but then again he's tweaking them in a way where they're not exactly that. You know, it's keeping the imagination flowing while observing nature. I think he's as I recall, he's a big fan of nature and hiking and going out and checking out nature. He films a lot of photographs a lot of bugs and insects and creatures and wildlife. So he's, you know, very much inspired. You can see a lot of the insect inspiration in his stuff too. Yeah, tremendous sculptor, and he's a great painter as well, actually. So if you get the opportunity on Instagram, Facebook, or any of those, check out Aris Colaconti's work because it is amazing stuff. And if you happen to be able to catch his work at a show where you can buy a piece, definitely do yourself a favor and get something. He also sells his art. You can contact him and buy pieces from him. I highly recommend you do because they are worth every penny. And he's in the new book with the Shiflett brothers. Like I mentioned, he does a sculpture demo in there, traditional. So check out his stuff for sure. Definitely give Aris a look, a shout out. You know, you'll be amazed at his portfolio of work. His body of work is just vast at this point. He's done so many characters and creatures. So definitely check it out. All right, so here's to Aris, buddy. It's been awesome to watch you grow over the years. Your work is amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love everything you do. Keep going, man. It just gets better and better. All right, so that's to Aris. Incredible stuff. All right, so now we are going to do our usual Q&A, which Sam will be handling for us tonight. And so, Sam, let's start cramming down on these questions if there's any questions from the good folks out there.
Sure. Yeah, we got a couple right now. It's about half a dozen.
Okay, cool.
So far. So the
Great.
first one comes to us from Manuel Silva. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Manuel or
Manuel.
Manuel. Okay.
Silva.
Hopefully we're saying that right. Sorry if we're butchering your name.
So, and Manuel asks, what is the best hardness of clay to sculpt small busts? Sounds like he's asking for your opinion.
Well, for small busts, I typically use monster clay or I use Super Sculpey. Now, Super Sculpey is not a hard clay. It can be very frustrating to sculpt it if you're not familiar with it. If you are familiar with it, it can be a cakewalk. But But if you're not familiar with it, it can be a big headache because it's like pushing bubble gum around. So there's a learning curve to Super Sculpey. But I've used it on a lot of small pieces. But if you want a more traditional clay that's firm for a small piece, then I would recommend hard monster clay, the monster clay, and then get the hard grade, or get the medium and the hard and kind of mix them together. Would help to give you a clay that's fairly firm, not too firm, not too soft. So that would work too. You could try it out. Try that out. But I would recommend those. You could also try Chavant hard. Is a nice hard traditional oil clay. A lot of people like the hard Chavant. Again, you can get some medium, mix it in, and melt them together. See if you like that better. Or if you need something very, very firm, you can do that. If you need something firmer than that, then hard monster clay, there Chavant makes a clay, I believe, called P40 or something, which is a incredibly hard clay that you can definitely. It's almost like a wax, but not quite as hard as a wax. But it's very, very, very strong and tough. So those would be my recommendations.
All right, our next question comes from Mauricio Chavez.
Mauricio, thanks for the question.
And Mauricio asks, "Hey Casey, did you ever finish that pumpkin head maquette? I saw teases of it on your Instagram and I was impressed, but I've yet to see a finished version. Just wondering what the status is on that. Thanks."
So, the status on the pumpkin head, it's not finished. It's been a very, very long process, very, very long process because, as most of you guys know, and this is not me making excuses, this is just what it is. I have family, I have a full-time job, I have my teaching on the side, I have, this on the side, I have many things, orders and art. So doing a prod piece like that pumpkin head, which if you're not familiar, it's massive in size as well. And I've been taking my time to do it slowly, bit by bit, so that I can make the best pumpkin head statue that's ever been made. That's my goal. To that end, I am extremely close to finishing. I actually just put the second layer of silicone on the base today. The base just got finished sculpted over the weekend, and I was able to get 2 layers of silicone on, and I'm going to be putting on 2 more after this stream tonight to finish the mold. That's the last piece of the puzzle. Every other piece has been molded. I've been casting copies, but if you're interested, you have to hit me up privately about that. But that piece is it's almost there. I'm almost ready to unveil a fully finished painted version of it to show everybody. So soon, very soon. Thank you for the question.
All right, and our third question also comes from Manuel Silva, who asked our first question. And Manuel asks, "Do you remember the first monster you ever sculpted?"
Oh, that's a good question. The first monster I ever sculpted that's coming to my mind was, and I don't have a picture. I apologize. I don't have a picture or anything of it. Well, okay. On masks, as far as a mask is concerned, my first mask monster was, I think I did a Frankenstein of my own design, and I did a kind of gargoyle thing, sort of. Hard to explain, kind of a gargoyle demon thing. But as far as maquette, like a figure, I had done actually a gargoyle monster creature, which I never finished 100%, but I cut the head off and put the head in a barbarian base that I sculpted. I did like a model kit barbarian many years ago, back in like 2000. I did this barbarian holding 2 axes, and he had a bag at his feet, and one of the heads in there was from that gargoyle that I sculpted. That was my first, and I had started a werewolf that was crouching, and I never finished. So my first few sculptures actually really never finished, and it was like maybe a year or so after that I started to break that habit, because a lot of sculptors will get into that habit where they start stuff and they don't finish it, and then I got into that habit for a brief period, and I started forcing myself to finish things. So, but those are kind of the first that I recall off the top of my head.
Our next question comes from Andrea Hernandez.
Andrea, thanks for the question.
They ask, do you study scientific facts from different animal anatomy, or do you study forms and shapes when studying for your art forms? I'm assuming that means like painting and sculpting, etc.
So scientific facts, I don't study too much, but I do keep my ears and eyes open for things that scientists discover or new findings, whatever that is. That if it's some kind of interesting organism or whatever animal, creature, whatever that is, I'm always fascinated to study those new things because those things can obviously lead to new creature design ideas, things you didn't think of before. I'm very curious to watch this new dinosaur documentary on Apple TV, which I've been hearing great things, so I want to see that. That would be awesome. I always love to mix dinosaur, reptile with human and things like that. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm curious to see this film. So but as far as what was it part of the second part of the question? It was like forms and things.
Yeah. Or do you study forms and shapes?
Yeah, more of that. I study more of the forms and shapes of things than I do the science behind those things. So when it comes to animals, creatures, I'm always looking at the forms, the shapes, the colors as well. I study the color stuff because of the painting side. So yeah, I'm more into that than I am the scientific factual stuff of those animals, creatures, or whatever. So yeah.
So that next question is actually something that I wrote down. So in the sculpting process, what would you do to a sculpt for your ears to add age or
Oh,
something like that?
so yeah, if this was a vampire ear, and then I was going to make it old age, then I would start to look at old age human ears, study those ears, and look at where the wrinkles and how things start to sag or develop over time from old age. Things start to the earlobe starts to sag, things start to come down. Things so like and just where the wrinkles and things land, and I would start to put those things into the ear to help make it old age, and instead of looking younger and whatnot. And if it's obviously if it's you go the other direction where it's newborn or infant or something, then you want to have less forms in a way. You want to soften the forms drastically to represent something of younger age with no wrinkles in it, really. Something very, very smooth and soft.
Next question comes from Creative Mutation.
Oh, thank you for the question.
Right, and they ask, what's your preferred sealer for plaster monster molds? That also still be the Krylon matte spray?
Plaster monster mold. So I think he's meaning like plaster for latex masks, like that. Yeah. So yeah, the Krylon matte spray is my sealer of choice for if you're doing an ultracal or hydrocal mold. I use Krylon matte spray. I do a couple light coats. I don't do real heavy. There's no need to go crazy heavy. Just a few, get a decent coat on, but nothing like you don't got to douse it. But a couple light, good coats, and then a little coat of dulling spray on top of that. And then I do my clay wall, and then I make my mold.
All right, this is our last question so far.
All right.
This one comes from Barbarian. It's kind of a fun one.
All right.
He asks, did you get my Facebook messages?
I would have to check. Sometimes, people send me messages if they're not a friend on Facebook or whatever. It'll go to a different section, a request, and I rarely check those. So I apologize if you have questions that have just been sitting there waiting. I will go check and make sure that I see your questions and see if I can answer whatever you're asking. So sorry about that. Yep.
That's all the questions we have so far.
Awesome. All right, cool, great. So let's now let's go back to this ear sculpting demo, and let's start to amp it up a little bit in terms of taking it a little bit away from human and adding more creatures. So one of the things I like to do, and what we were just talking about, is a lot of times, let's say I'm doing this vampire ear or whatever. Sometimes I'll just look up bat ears, and just see what's out there. As far as, of course, when you get those cosplay pictures, you're like, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. But we'll look at some bat ears really quick. I'm just looking on my phone. Just quickly looking at some things here, like what makes the forms of a bat ear, just checking it out, looking for inspiration, basically. That's all I'm doing.
Neil Leffler has a quick question.
Oh yeah, let's answer it. Neil, thanks for the question. What is it?
Do you prefer Rick or Morty?
I oddly enough, I haven't gotten to watch too much Rick and Morty. I've watched a few. Oh my god, it's hilarious. I need to watch more. A friend of mine just sent over, what was it? Doing cocaine with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love doing cocaine with you, Johnny.
Yeah, I love doing cocaine with you, Johnny. Woo.
I love doing cocaine with you too, Johnny Depp.
So, but yeah, Rick, it's his grandfather, right?
Yeah.
Rick is my favorite. He is hilarious, man. Oh my god, the shit he says, it's like, I'm sometimes watching it, and when I have watched it, I'm sometimes just like, he didn't just really say that,
Yeah.
and he did. It's like, and I'll have to rewind. Oh my god, no. So Rick is my favorite. That guy's hilarious. That character is just, oh my god, that's the best. Morty I like, but he can be annoying at times, Oh, Rick. That voice is like sometimes too much. But it's hilarious. Which one's your favorite?
I would have to say,
Right? They're both good.
I really like Summer.
Summer?
Yeah.
Is that the
sister.
daughter?
Yeah, that's the sister.
The sister.
She kicks ass.
Yeah.
So much. She has Rick's sass and just the episodes where she's allowed to just go balls to the wall. Like there's an episode where they do like this rip off of Thunderdome, and she's the one who's or no, that's a different one. There's an episode where actually no, it is the same one. It's just a rip off of Thunderdome, and
Yeah.
she just goes on this killing spree because she's just got all this emotional trauma that she can't deal with, and
Oh my
the
god.
episode is about her coping with it in a sense. But just
Right.
before all of that stuff, it's just her going around and murdering everything in sight. It's just like, God, she's badass.
Yeah, I have to watch more of that show, because I have not. It's weird. It's I haven't, like, it's a weird thing. Like, I don't think of it too often, funny enough, which is weird. Like, because I love stuff like that. It's funny as hell. But South Park, I used to watch a lot of South Park, but I mean, I don't watch it anymore. But yeah, it's like there's I just somehow don't think too much to watch that show. It's a weird thing, but I need to. But the funny thing is every time I hear about it, I'm just like laughing my ass off. So, but every once in a while, because I think, what is it? Is it on Hulu, or where is it on?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. Okay, yeah, and I have that, so I definitely should be watching. I'm gonna watch tonight, actually, because
There's an episode, I forget which season it's in, but there's an episode where they have like these squid monsters attached to their face, and they kind of like take over their brains. And
oh,
use their
I saw
bodies.
that one.
Yeah.
No, that one I did see. Yeah, that one was hilarious. Oh
That
my
one's one of
god.
my favorites.
Yeah, I did see that one. I want to say someone, like a friend of mine, might have recommended that to me. Yeah. Oh god, that show is freaking hilarious. So okay, so let's see, what are we gonna do now? I was looking at some bat ears here just to see some interesting things. Let's see, let's play around with this a little bit. What if we were to sort of dig in more here. So now what we're going to do is let's just try to take it a little bit away from the human and add some more animal vibe to it, just for fun. And see, what can we get away with? Okay, we'll do. Yeah, you can throw them at me while I'm sculpting. Actually.
Do you plan on going to Wonderfest again?
Yeah, I do. I was gonna go to this year's Wonderfest, but then it landed on the same weekend as Monster Palooza. And once I decided to visit Monster Palooza again, it was like, well, there goes Wonderfest. Yes, I do want to go to Wonderfest because I'm actually really wanting to take my son with me so he can see the show. He's never been. It's an amazing show. If you guys don't know what Wonderfest is, it's in Louisville, Kentucky. It is a model kit show that's been around for ages. It's all the whole show is entirely about resin model kits. And you'll find Frankenstein monster kits and resin ones and with all from all the different movies, and you'll find guys like there's an amazing artist there that goes there, Shane Falks. He's amazing. He does the most amazing dinosaur model kits, and like he's really into getting them right and being correct about his knowledge of them. He's told me stuff that's blown my mind about dinosaurs that he's because that's all he lives and breathes dinosaurs. He's an amazing sculptor and amazing painter of dinosaurs, by the way. Um, and he goes there, and I always look forward to seeing his stuff every time I go. Um, and there's amazing Godzilla kits and things if you're into Godzilla or kaiju kits, Gamera and things like that, or King Kong, basically movie memorabilia in model kits. That's the show to go to. It's a blast. Take your kids there. It's kid friendly. It's awesome. It's not a huge venue either, like Monster Palooza. It's much smaller. At In a hotel, it's a decent sized convention room, but it's not like enormous or anything. But man, what a fun time it is every year to go to that show. But yeah, I'm missing it this year, unfortunately. I haven't been back in a while. I got to go back, though. I'm dying to go back. So next year is definitely on my radar. Yes.
Funny you mentioned King Kong and Godzilla because our next question is actually King Kong or Godzilla.
Oh, which do I like?
Yeah, which do you prefer?
Oh,
Like.
I'm going to start a war. This is going to be a war right now. I'm going to make some people happy and some people sad. Well, much like my friend Rick Baker, I'm a gorilla fan. So I love King Kong. But I love King Kong when he's on two legs and a giant mysterious monster thing rather than exactly an ape. Like I'm not into him being a giant silverback. I loved the Peter Jackson movie that they did, but the one thing and they did an amazing job. I mean, they really got so many cool things happening in that movie with Kong. There's just some amazing fight scenes and all this stuff, and I loved it for what it was totally. But like my idea of Kong was more like the new movies that came out, where it like back when Rick did the 70s Kong. It was like this big creature, tall thing on two legs, standing upright. I don't know. I love that sort of take on it more than I do something that looks more like a natural gorilla or something like that. I grew up loving Godzilla though. It's weird. Like sometimes I feel torn because I grew up loving Godzilla, but King Kong seems to be the one I always go to more. And if you look behind me, you'll see there's some King Kong stuff here. So, but I do dig Godzilla, man. Godzilla's cool. When I grew up, man, I was always watching those old Godzilla shows. You know, the movies, Mothra, and all those movies that came out where he was fighting. I loved watching those as a kid. But yeah, when I have to choose between the two, man, I'm a Kong fan. Something about those ape, like big ape thing, man. It's so cool.
I'm
Yeah,
a Vegeta guy.
yeah. No, I get it too, man. I mean, they're both cool, man. I mean, it's like you
Yeah.
can't really go
It is
wrong,
really hard
you
to have
know.
a favorite.
Yeah, it's hard to have a favorite because they're both super cool.
I really liked how they did Kong in the new Godzilla versus Kong, the new one.
Yeah, yeah. I like it better than yeah. Like I loved Peter Jackson's movie. It was amazing. The everything done in that movie was amazing. But the one thing that if I had to like be super picky about it, like it was like the look of Kong. You know, just being like he just kind of looked like a big silverback.
Yep.
But you know, he had so much personality that it was awesome because it was to watch him and to feel his emotion and stuff. They did such an amazing job with that. Uh, that you know, I was still grabbed by it big time.
Was that something they had Andy Serkis do the mocap for?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Right, just like like he did Golem, like he would do all the movements, like they did with Smog. Right? They used
Or Caesar from
yeah. So
Our next question, our next quick answer question
cool.
is: do you prefer highbrow or lowbrow horror?
Horror. Um, highbrow or lowbrow?
Hard to define that. I feel
Yeah.
like the definition kind of varies from person to person.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Sorry. There's my garage opening. That's all good. My son opened the garage. We're gonna have a little bit of noise. Okay. he didn't know we're doing the live stream. Okay, so to answer that question, I think the best way for me to answer what I like in horror movies would be to go to like a genre or era of horror movies. That's the best way for me to answer, which is easy. It's the golden years of horror, which is the 80s, right? Like that's my favorite. And I can kind of go through some of my favorites off the top of my head here. I'm a big fan of the Fright Night movies. I'm a big fan of um, you know, Evil Dead and what else? Let me think here, because I know I'm gonna miss. Oh, Funhouse, you know, the one Rick Baker did with Craig Reardon. That you know he did the awesome mutant kid in there. I love that movie, Funhouse, and you know, Melting Man. Jeez, Phantasm.
Phantasm is one I actually need to watch.
I love Phantasm. Actually, several of the Phantasms are really good. Not just the first one, which is great about that series. Yeah. Oh
Jeez.
yeah, there's a bunch. But I love the first three for sure. The second one, the third one. Um, well, let's see what else. Howling, obviously. American Werewolf in London. Return of the Living Dead. Day of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead. What else? Shaun of the Dead. No, that's later, but because I'm just going with the 80s
Right.
stuff. But yeah, no, that Shaun of the Dead was good. You know, things like that. I mean, that era of horror movies is really my favorite stuff. You know, I mean, I love the first Halloween. You know, with Michael Myers. The first one is like really like a boogeyman thing. That was awesome. That you know that movie. One of my favorite. But here's the thing, like with Halloween stuff, my favorite Halloween is actually Halloween 3. Well, and that's for obvious reasons because you know it's a warlock who makes masks to kill kids. I mean, it's like the craziest thing, you know.
Season of the Witch?
Season of the Witch. Yeah, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. That's my favorite of the Halloween franchise. Along with the first one, the very first one, because you have to. The first one is just nostalgic. It's just its own thing. Um, you can't outdo it. The Fog is a favorite of mine. I love a lot of the Carpenter stuff. The early Carpenter, The Fog is awesome. I love that movie. What else? I'm trying to think of some others here. But yeah, like the '80s era of monster movies is my favorite stuff. I think it's easier for me to answer that way than what the question was. There's movie there, and there's all the more obscure '80s stuff too that I really like. I mean, I love the mainstream stuff like Poltergeist and when I was a kid, I really loved Poltergeist and those movies freaked me out. But I love the stuff like Night of the Demons, which is not as big box office success type thing, but it's a killer horror movie. And then there's movies like there's the Italian stuff like Fulci Zombie and Demons and all these kinds of movies that are super rad. So yeah, I kind of like that stuff, '70s and '80s era stuff the most. I mean, hopefully that kind of answers this question.
Yeah. We actually have Kadeem Hardison in the chat.
Oh, what's up, Kadeem? Welcome back, buddy. How are you?
He's asking about Leprechaun in the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood, man. How can you go wrong? Yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood, man. That one too. So Kadeem's, I forget his name, buddy. I don't want to mess it up, but one of Kadeem's good friends wrote Leprechaun in the Hood. I met him, and he wrote it, and that was so awesome. When he told me that, I almost lost my shit, man. He's like, "Yeah, I wrote that." I was like, "What? No fucking way!" Leprechaun in the Hood, man. Oh, you can't go wrong. That's funny. That is funny. But yeah, the '80s is legendary, man. That's the best stuff, to me. Try and think of some others too off the top of my head. Oh, Salem's Lot, dude. Fuck, Salem's Lot. Love Salem's Lot. What were you thinking?
I was thinking like Gremlins, but I know a lot of people consider that like they can't decide whether it's a horror movie or a Christmas movie or.
Yeah.
I kind of consider it a horror movie just because of that spiel that the girl goes on about her.
Yeah.
Father burning alive in the chimneys, like that is dark.
Yeah. Gremlins is it's definitely one I watch during Christmas more than Halloween. October, I definitely do turn Gremlins. I do save Gremlins for like a Christmas mood. That is funny. I think because it happens during Christmas, that's why. Because if it happened like any other time of the year, then I don't think people would ever associate it with Christmas. Obviously, it would just be a somewhat of a light horror movie, right? Like, yeah, no, it is interesting. I love stuff like, well, since you bring that up, I mean, I love stuff like Big Trouble in Little China too, which is not exactly horror, but it's kind of like horror kung fu meets sci-fi, maybe, yeah, a little bit of that, and it's like a mixed bag of stuff, but it's super awesome. So I'm just playing around with this ear, trying to find some sort of design, with it. We've gone human, then vampiric, now more bat, just to show you, different ways to change it around and things you can do. So, you're just watching me make it up. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just making it up.
One more question somebody has.
Sure.
They were asking, did you ever release the Devil on Throne kit?
No, I didn't. No, it was a very heavy idea of it was a devil on a throne. He was actually not on a normal throne either. It was a devil on a giant demon head for a throne. So it was a devil sitting on this massive because it was like this whole, I came up with a whole backstory to that, which is there's the devil, this Satan or whatever, and he's sitting on this throne, and this throne is a giant ancient demon head, which I still have. I have the head sitting right here. Funny enough. This was the head it was sitting on. Here, let me unbag this. I gotta finish this. Maybe once I finish this, I'll do the devil. And I gotta tweak this. It's still not right. Now that it's sat around for so long, I kind of want to rework it a little bit, especially how it sits, because it's supposed to sit more crooked. But here's this is the head that that devil was sitting on. He was sitting up here, and then the horns would come out in a way that they would come out and then come back around. I forget how they came out and came around, and they were the armrests that he was using as armrests. And then down in front were what are the ones that go up? Stalagmites, stalactites, whatever. The ones that, yeah, right, because stalactite is the one that hangs down, right? So anyway, so he had his feet on those, like these weird demon, kind of like half, just like toe claw feet, bird feet. Anyway, he's sitting on this. The horns come around. Those are his armrests. And this was supposed to be this ancient god like demon thing that existed before him, before the devil ever was, born or brought to life. It was these giants that ruled everything. Anyway, yeah. So like a troll demon thing. Anyway, then there were two henchmen next to the devil, and one was a butcher kind of thing, a short, fat butcher that cuts heads off of the souls that come to hell or whatever. This fat butcher, and then next to that was a tall, lanky female, which I sculpted in ZBrush. Part of her, like this lanky, no-eyed, with four horns coming out of her eye socket area. This demonic female creature that had a chalice, like the devil's chalice, and she would fill that up with blood as the butcher cut the heads off to feed the devil. So it was like a whole a whole 3-part figure thing that I had this huge plan to do, and I only got so far and then lost interest and all these other things. Things just get in the way. You start these massive ideas, and so I think some of it I would love to go back to it and do it when I have time, but I've got so many other projects in the way, like Pumpkinhead and all these other things. I'm gonna have to take my time to to one day go back to it, because it's something I really want to finish. And I did show part of it, I think, on a Stan Winston video. When I was doing, maybe when I was sculpting the Medusa or something. I think I showed the devil then, or something like that. Shared it with everybody. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened to that. So it's quite a backstory to it. So what I'm doing now is just digging out stuff and just taking this away from being exactly a human ear. It's still got elements of a human ear, but not 100% anymore. And let's get this. It's kind of tricky to do this little piece here. You look at like bats and stuff, you'll see these. You've got this little triangular flap of skin that sort of comes out down here, and So for those of you that are just tuned in recently or came late to the stream, earlier I sculpted a human ear, and then we showed the process of sculpting a human ear, just a normal human ear, and then we took that into kind of a vampire human ear, with pointy and everything, and then now we were like, okay, well, let's take it further into away from human and make it more creature type of ear. So now that's what I'm doing, just playing around with shapes and forms and figuring out how to make this interesting and look like a bat ear, but still a little bit of human in it. My wife and I just started watching the new Stranger Things. I don't know if anyone's watching that. Yeah, very 80s, very very 80s inspired. And what I think what's amazing about it, I mean, it's a I'm finding it to be a kind of weird season. I don't. It seems a little all over the place in some ways, but I don't know. I'm obviously the story will end up somewhere. I mean, it's got a story, but it just seems a little all over the place. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they didn't know what they wanted to do with it or whatever. I don't know. I could be wrong, but um, it what I think is amazing is the most is just all the background stuff, the 80s uh stuff that's in it is like, whoa, where the hell did they find that? Like there's one scene where they're at. I'm not giving anything away here, but there's one scene where they're at an arcade, and there's this kid playing a video game. I mean, it's not even a video game. He's playing with a arm wrestling game that I remember playing with in the 80s. Like I remember, it's just an arm, a mechanical arm that sticks out, and you put a quarter in or whatever, and you have to arm wrestle it and beat it. But it's like super difficult. I don't think I ever could beat those things. But it was just like that kind of stuff, and it's like in perfect pristine condition. It's like, wow, where the hell did they find all this? The cars in it, everything, the clothing, just all the like the 80s homage stuff in there is like, holy shit, wow, this is nuts, man. Because you'll see stuff and go, oh my god, I remember that. I remember that video game. I remember, they do the whole roller rink scene, and it's crazy, dude. It's like, holy shit, man. They really made it. The hairstyles, the look of the kids, everything about it. It's just so funny. But they did a great job, obviously, with nailing the vibe. The sets and everything on it are really good. Story wise, right now, I'm not sure about it. I'm still just getting into it, so we'll see. Seems like it's getting better though, like slowly. So I'm thinking it's one of those. And I think what they said something like this is. I heard that this was like maybe there's like another part to this. It's like it's in two halves or something. So yeah.
Got one more quick question here
All right.
from Saze Johnson.
Oh, okay.
They're wondering what your recommendation on other water-based clays besides lead.
That's a tough question because I don't know. I only use wed. Is it because he can't get wed?
Maybe they didn't specify in here. Just kind of, I
Hmm.
guess they're just kind of looking like, hey, what are my options?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it might be that they can't get it. I don't know. Yeah, I have never used anything else in water clay. I mean, it's just wed. So if you can get wed, get that. But if you can't, I'm not sure. You could use any good smooth water-based clay that's not going to dry out on you like crazy, you know. That's the thing about wed is it has glycerin in it. It was designed by the reason it's called wed is because it stands for Walter E. Disney, and it was designed for the Disney company to sculpt their large pieces for their theme parks. Yeah. So Laguna Clay Company, which I imagine was contacted by Disney or something at some point way back when, probably helped develop, the clay, and it's been around ever since. It's a big popular one for special effects artists and stuff, because if we're sculpting big creatures and stuff, we'll do it out of this clay. It's much faster and change things quicker.
So this would be the kind of same clay that they would use to make the original molds for pirates and
Yeah, I mean, they might have sculpted the pirates out of. I mean, they might have done the heads out of either wax or clay, like traditional oil based clay. But the bodies maybe they did out of this or something like the larger things, the larger theme park characters and stuff. They supposedly did out of wed. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the great thing about this clay is it's because it has glycerin in it and all that. It's a slow drying clay, so they would want something that's smooth and creamy and slow drying. Uh, and I know there's other clays because I know people from other countries and things have to use. They can't get wed, They, they use other pottery clays and different kinds, something similar to it. Basically, there are some others. I just don't know the names offhand and what they are. So that's that part. I is tricky because I have no idea. I've literally never had to use anything else, so that's why I don't know. I wish I had a bigger answer for you. I would say check out some. I'm not sure where he lives or where he resides from, but check out your local like a pottery supply place or a place that would carry water-based clay and see if they have something that is slow drying and creamy. You don't want anything that like you don't want like a firing type clay that has what do they put in there like grit and granite and things or whatever. I don't know what's in those, but you don't want something like that. You definitely want just a smooth clay with nothing in it. But I'd say if they can't find wed, then or something like it, then I would just use, just use another clay, like soft oil based clay or something.
we got one more question from Manuel Silva.
Okay.
Once more,
All right.
asking what your preference is on digital sculpting versus traditional sculpting, or if you have something like that.
Right now, my preference is traditional over digital. I like digital as a tool. It's definitely something I'll do more of in the future. I don't know that I'll become totally digital. Okay, thanks. So yeah, I right now though I prefer traditional, especially for masks and stuff. I've always been a traditional sculptor, so digital's not something I've branched heavily into. I can sculpt in ZBrush, and I've done that a lot. But it's something I still need to learn and grasp better. I have no problem sculpting heads and stuff in ZBrush, but when it's like bodies and posing and moving things, God, that just seems like such a frustrating nightmare. The way it's set up, I don't like it. It's pretty annoying, but you have to know, all this technical shit, which I hate. But I'll have to learn it just like everybody else. Excuse me. Oh, is that the first sneeze on Monday Night Monster Jam?
It is,
Yeah, God, great. Well, we set a record. So you can see I'm just tweaking this, playing around, with whatever design this is. It's nothing special or fancy. I'm just messing around here for you guys, trying to come up with something on the fly. On the digital versus traditional thing, I would say one of the things I like to do, and I've done this before, is sculpt something digitally, print it out like a bust or something. Especially if I'm going to do like a model kit or something like that. And then what I'll do is mold that sculpture, not finished, just like a rough study or something. I'll mold it and I'll cast it in clay, like monster clay. Pour it in monster clay. Just make a quick throwaway mold, and then I'll finish it off from there in clay. And I like that, the marriage of the two. That's fun. To do. The one thing I don't like is how this comes together here. I feel like it doesn't work. So I'm gonna try to web this out like it doesn't have an earlobe.
Another question here for you from Stephanie Paris.
All right.
They're wondering, did you ever sculpt a troll-like figurine for a DVD that was 3D scanned for a tutorial on retopology and rigging a few years ago? Very specific.
A troll-like character for a
DVD that was 3D scanned for a tutorial on retopology and rigging.
what the hell is retopology? Red apology. Don't know what that is. Troll like character. Do they know like roughly what year? This must have been something a long time ago if I did it. Wait. I know exactly what they're talking about. I think. I don't remember them doing a DVD though. That's news to me. I did a troll for these guys, or for a guy. Not, I don't even know the company, or I don't even know if it was a company. I did a troll, like about this big, just kind of standing in a T pose, and it was real lumpy, bumpy thing, and it had kind of I sculpted it and painted it in Chavant and all that. I molded it and cast it and then painted in Chavant. I sculpted it in Chavant, molded it, casted it in resin, and painted it. I think that's the one they're talking about. This was like around, holy moly, this must have been around 2004 when I did that. I think that's what they're talking about. I think it was like 2004. If it's what they're talking about, I didn't know that it was for a DVD or a company. There was just a guy that contacted me to do this troll. Um, it was for something, but I don't recall being a DVD. But maybe that was what it was for. I just that was so long ago. I have no idea. Um, and I think what I remember about it too is they named it some goofy ass name. They gave it a stupid name, and I hated that. I remember that. I forget what they called it. Um, Give me a sec here. I'm gonna try to remember. They gave it a stupid name, like Lanny or Leon or something with an L, I think. Anyway, I remember hearing that and just going, "What the hell? Why did you guys give it a stupid name?" Uh,
Oh, it's not okay. So Stephane, sorry, it's not Stephanie. It's Stephane. I'm sorry about that. They said, and they did a 3D version of it. Whatever you did, they did a
what?
3D version. So it sounds like you did it. They scanned it
They
and then put it
scanned it
into
back in 2004?
yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
Unless maybe they scanned it recently.
Well, was this the guy that contacted me to do it? That was
I'm not sure.
is he the one that is he the one that maybe it's him that had me do it. I don't know. I would love to hear what the explanation on why they chose that name. Because the name was like, oh, why that name? It's so silly. Maybe they were just being silly with it. I don't know. I'm all criticizing the name. It's the thing that stood out. I think that's the one that they're talking about.
Stephane says that's how how he or they, I should say, discovered your work. Was
Oh, they discovered it me that. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know about the DVD and all that. Sorry, that was news to me. It was that was a that yeah, I did do this troll thing. I guess it's a troll. It was kind of a weird. Yeah, I guess it's a troll. Um, but it was a strange job. It was very strange because, as I recall, they were very picky about certain things, and they didn't want to allow me a lot of freedom. They wanted me to kind of copy, like, I think it was like they wanted me to marry. Oh, it's okay. They wanted me to marry a rancor and a cave troll. So really, like, was one of these things where I was really excited to do my own design, and then they kind of forced me into a box of cave troll and meets rancor, and I was like, okay, what is that? And I did it and all that, and I think that's the one that they're talking about, because that's the only thing I can think of. But I had no clue that they did a scan and a DVD and all that. I would love to see that DVD. I did film it. That's right, because I filmed myself doing that thing. Yeah.
according to Stephane, they say no, or they had the DVD of it, and the first DVD was about you sculpting it. So
Oh. Okay. Because I painted it. I painted it too. There was that was supposed to be part of it. I took it to completion. Wow, I haven't even thought of that thing in ages. Wow.
sounds like the point Stephane was trying to make was it was a really bitchin' DVD.
Oh,
I'm really
awesome.
glad
Well,
you made
okay,
it.
awesome. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I appreciate that you gained something out of it for sure. I mean, because for me, it was a nightmare to do that job for those guys. It was a lot of work, and there was a lot of scrutiny over certain things, and how things were being done or whatever. And I had to talk them into a lot. It seemed like I had to talk them into a lot of things. I just remember that. But yeah, that was that was a job, man. Molding and casting that thing. It was a beast too. It was like this big and chunky. There's probably photos somewhere of it. Okay, awesome. So, all right. So anyway, I think that's all the fussing around I'm gonna do with this ear. The main point tonight was sculpt a human ear, and then turn it into a monster ear, and now we took it into further away from human just to show you some ideas. You know, you get the picture though, I'm sure. And there you have it. You know, there's something there. I mean, we could go in and even, you know, it looks like I probably just damaged it, but
I was actually going to ask about scarring or rips. If that's something that you would do in the molding process, or something you would do after you pull it.
no,
Just like,
you could do it now or do it whenever. You know, this could be a scar, or this could be another little section. Some of those bat ears kind of have these weird little break points and things. So, you know, this could be just the way the ear is, or yeah, or it could be cut. This could be a cut. You know, this could be like a wound, like, you know, where it's like cut through the ear or something like that. But anyway, I'm just throwing stuff out to show people. Now it's a forked tongue ear. All right, but anyway, that's it for this evening, guys. I just want to wrap it up and say thank you so much for joining us again for Monday Night Monster Jam. It's been a blast. We appreciate you guys coming back. Things to look forward to next week. We are doing a demo on dentures, how I do small dentures for smaller busts, you know, out of Super Sculpey. So that'll be a really fun one. And I hope you gained a lot from this little demonstration on how to do ears. Hopefully it helps you out if you're having any issues with doing ears. I don't know if you are or you're not, but I just thought I would share with you guys. And what else? My class, June 25th. Do not forget. Do not miss this thing because it's a monster of a class. And I only can do 1 or 2 live classes in person throughout a year at this point. I mean, there's just no time. So it's rare that I'm doing them. And so, you know, this one's going to be a blast. It's these 2 busts. Actually, Sam, can you grab those? Grab the werewolf bust. It's right there. Yeah. I'm going to show you guys this bust really quick. It's just a werewolf one. If you want to grab that one.
where can they sign up for the classes?
So you can sign up. This is the werewolf, by the way, guys. So far, I'm working on his hair. You kind of see what he's looking like. And these dentures will be probably next week's stream. You know, redoing these and showing them how to do the dentures. But you can sign up for this class. This is the werewolf. This is the size he is. And then there's a vampire, the same size vampire head that goes with him. And the teeth will be separate, cast translucent. And so you'll learn how to do translucent teeth and gums. And you'll learn how to paint the skin and all this stuff. And the eyes. And then we'll do hair. You know how to do hair really nice. And then we got a vampire to go with it. So we'll be doing the 2 heads in class. You get a 20 color paint set included for free. You can't beat it. So June 25th, you can sign up on my website, caseylovemonsters.com. Go to the in-person page, sign up, and you can scroll down and sign up there to take the class. And you would come to my studio. I live in Southern California, and that is where the class will be held. So that's coming up. We have our first giveaway coming up. We're getting up there. I think we're up to like what, almost
850 around there.
Yeah, 850 subscribers. So as we get higher up to that 1,000, which is a few weeks probably away from that, we're gonna start raffling off and doing these giveaways, these 10 giveaways. So we'll figure out how to conduct that accordingly, so that it's nice and fair for everyone. Random choices. So we got that. Let's see. I'll be at Monster Palooza on Friday. If you guys want to meet me or say hi or whatever, shoot the shit, whatever, I will be roaming the halls of Monster Palooza Friday night. Friday only. I will have a few pieces on display there. Please check it out in the gallery or the museum, I think it is. Sorry, museum. Yes, please. If you're new to this channel, like and subscribe. Please follow. You can also go to my Instagram and follow me there, which is caseylove designs. I also have a second Instagram page called caseylove paintworks, where I showcase all my statue paintwork for a company I work for called Sideshow Collectibles. And I also have, let's see, a Facebook page. And more importantly, we have our Monday Night Monster Jam Facebook page. You can go to Monday Night Monster Jam on Facebook, join the group if you're not there yet. There's some awesome people, tons of people, like over 500-600 there now, sharing their work, talking with one another. I go on there, answer some questions, give my support, tell you you're doing a good job, and all that good stuff. You know, it's a place for fun, to share, have a good time, nothing serious. And I think that's it, guys. I want to thank all you guys for joining us. I know it's a holiday. Some of us have family and things like that and other things going on. So I know it's hard to break away sometimes, but I appreciate you all. Appreciate you guys following. Appreciate you guys showing up tonight and hanging out with us one more time. And we will be back for episode 11 next week, Monday, 6 o'clock Western, 9 Eastern. And we will be sculpting some monster dentures. All right. So that's all from me. Sam, you got anything for these lovely folks?
Oh, just tune in next week, 6 o'clock p.m.
We will see you then. Thank you so much, guys. Peace out.
Happy rest of your Memorial Day as well.
Yes. Have a great one. Drive safe.
Please do.